How's it going, guys? Randall aka Shizukatz here on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. With the recent release of Saekano Set 1, on top of the confirmed upcoming release of Saekano Flat sometime in the near future, I'm sure many of you are wondering how well your cards will hold up once additional sets are released. Obviously, not everything in the first set can remain usable moving forward, so in today's video, we'll be taking an in-depth look at our top picks to hold on to for using in future decks, and which cards they synergize with in the future, if any. Let's hop right in. Our first set of picks is a collection of very strong utility level zeros. Unlike climax combos, which can be constantly changed in and out of builds, these utility cards are strong constants that can be played in a multitude of decks, thus making them very solid investments. Our first selection comes from the rare slot with the level 0 Izumi. Izumi is a mill runner, making her a solid turn 1 going first option to maintain card advantage, but more importantly has the secondary ability to pay 1 and send herself to memory to look at up to 4 cards from the top of the deck, add a game character from among them to your hand, and send the rest to the waiting room. This effect allows Saekano to have access to some extra deck speed, which is especially relevant if your preferred climax combo of choice doesn't mill through the deck, as is the case with pretty much all of the climax combos in Set 1, as well as the most popular climax combo of Set 2, the level 1 Kato Gold Bar combo. Overall, this is an extremely strong utility card, being able to add lots of additional deck speed via her top 4 check, on top of the mill from her mill runner ability, not to be underestimated despite only being a 1-card mill. Getting memory on top is also a big bonus, and contributes to one of Saekano's biggest strengths, being able to accumulate a ton of memory and become very well compressed as a result. She's a strong enough card to actually be on the choose one of 3 for Saekano in the JP format, a sign of how much impact this card has on the set's performance. This Izumi also has some great synergy with an upcoming card also on this list, which we'll address when we come to that card later. Moving on to our next pick, we have the level 0 Utaha Red RR. This card is a fairly popular pick for the level 0 game for multiple reasons. First of all, just like the Izumi we just looked at, this Utaha has the ability to go to memory as part of the cost for her ability, contributing further to the memory strategy that Saekano is well known for. The ability itself activates when Utaha gets reversed. You pay a cost of 1 stock, put the top card of your deck into your clock, and send the Utaha to memory. Then choose any game or novel trait character from your waiting room and add it to your hand. This type of ability is commonly referred to as a salvage Riki type of ability, with the Riki part referring to an ability that has you pay 1 stock and take 1 damage to get an additional card, and obviously the salvage portion referring to how the extra card comes from your waiting room. This salvage Riki ability is a great way to enable Saekano to play a very aggressive early game, since you can easily get your card advantage back by using Utaha's ability after being defeated. There are a couple interesting things worth noting about this particular card. First of all, unlike most salvage Riki effects, Utaha can grab a game or novel character of any level. Usually these types of effects are limited to grabbing a level 1 or lower character, such as on cards from Attack on Titan, Bang Dream, or Rent a Girlfriend. Not being limited to a level 1 or lower target means that Utaha can be utilized later in the game to potentially grab important mid or late game pieces. The other thing to note actually has to do with Utaha with respect to the current English metagame. With cards like Hololive's Aqua running around, players will often run tech cards that can address on-death abilities in order to stop them from working, such as removal bombs, or cards that have or grant the ability to kick opposing characters to other zones upon reversing them. Unfortunately, these same techs work just as well on Utaha. While she doesn't need to hit the waiting room to use her effect, she does need to send herself to memory as part of the cost. So if she's removed from the board before her ability has a chance to resolve, unfortunately, she won't be able to grab you that extra card. With this in mind, be a bit cautious moving forward when including this card into your deck when playing the English format. Next up is an Edidi level 0 in the rare slot. Continuing the trend of cards that go to memory, Edidi's effect lets you pay 1, discard 1, and send herself to memory upon being reversed, in order to search your deck for any game trait character. Unlike the Utaha, which is a +1, the Edidi is simply a filter, discarding 1 card to search another. However, the Edidi gives you the ability to search through your deck, giving you a much wider selection of cards in the early game than the Utaha, who probably has a pretty small waiting room of cards to look through within the first 1 or 2 turns. Additionally, the Edidi has the on-play ability to pump one of your other characters by 2000 power until the end of the turn. While an extra 2k power boost is always welcome anyways, this is especially useful in the most popular builds of Saekano, where both the level 1 and level 3 combos will want to reverse their battle opponents in order to function properly. The level 3 combo of choice, the Kato Gate combo, is an actual on-reverse combo, while the level 1 combo of choice, the aforementioned Gold Bar Kato, isn't a reverse combo. It does need to stick around on the board in order to gain any actual value, as the climax combo involves bouncing herself back to your hand when your opponent attacks her, and thus, the extra power to safely swing over your opponent's cards is very helpful in achieving this. In a similar way as the Utaha that we just looked at, Eriri does suffer the potential issue of being removed from the board by anti-on-death tech cards. However, her low base power of 500 can actually serve as a pretty nice countermeasure to removal bombs, since the bomb itself needs to be reversed in order to remove the Eriri. If the opponent's bomb is 1000 power or higher, they can't actually reverse themselves, and Eriri can get away with using her ability and set you up for future turns. The final level 0 in this suite of powerful utility cards is the other level 0 RR Utaha. Unlike the previous 3 cards on this list, this Utaha does not contribute to the memory strategy, but does have a pair of very strong abilities nonetheless. This Utaha has what we call the Amagi effect, named after Amagi from Kantai Collection. When you play any climax, you can pay 1 stock to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 game or novel character from among them, add it to hand, and send the rest to waiting room. Additionally, she can also bounce herself back to your hand when you play any climax, in order to buff one of your characters by 1000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. These 2 abilities provide extra hand advantage, milling power, and on-board power that can serve offensive and defensive purposes, since the power granted lasts until the end of the opponent's next turn. It also synergizes exceptionally well with the level 1 Gold Bar Kato combo in particular. Apart from giving her extra power to safely swing into the opposing board, the Gold Bar combo has a dynamic with the hand size limit of 7 that's unique to bounce back climax combos. Since the combo bounces back to your hand on your opponent's turn, you can essentially bypass the hand size limit and sometimes start your next turn with as many as 10 cards in your hand, the 7 that you ended your turn with, plus up to 3 Katos that bounced back with their combos. Utaha plays into this strategy exceptionally well by using her ability to add additional cards to your hand upon playing any climax, to really maximize the amount of value that you can have at any given point. Now, unlike the previous 3 cards we've looked at, this Utaha did not see as widespread competitive play upon Saekano Flat's release in the JP format. Instead, many players chose to run the new level 0 Utaha from Flat, which had an effect to pay 1 and send herself to memory in order to bounce back one of your other characters being attacked. This Utaha served as a way to generate additional memory, while also being an aggression enabler similar to the red Utaha we looked at earlier, while also letting you potentially reuse certain valuable on-play abilities, since it bounces your character back to hand, while also giving you a way to dodge opposing on-reverse abilities. This new Utaha from Set 2 was certainly the complete package. However, when the restriction list hit JP, 2 of the cards on it were the level 0 Izumi that we looked at the beginning of the video, and this level 0 Utaha, which gave the Utaha Amagi a chance to start appearing in lists again. Even if EN doesn't eventually get the Saekano restriction list, I still think that the inclusion of the Utaha Amagi on our list is warranted, as it still makes a lot of sense to run in future builds, especially ones that run standby climaxes. Utaha synergizes especially well with standby builds that could become much more popular upon the release of Saekano Fine, the 3rd set of Saekano that is not currently announced for EN as of this recording. When your standby combo is placed, she can bounce herself to grant a 1k buff somewhere while also freeing up a slot on board to play your standby character into. It's just a match made in heaven. You also have to account for the fact that the Utaha Amagi doesn't run into the same problems as many of the cards we've discussed so far, anti-on-death profiles. Even the new Utaha RR from Flat isn't immune to this issue, as she can get removed from the board and cause you to lose out on value and additional memory. Alright, now we finally move out of the level 0 game and into a very impactful event card, pulling an all-nighter to game. This is an extremely powerful 1-0 event, allowing you to search your deck for any game character, and then places the event itself on the bottom of your deck afterwards. Not only does this event not cost any stock, it actually gets you +1 stock when you play it. However, it's not without its downsides. In order to properly resolve this event, you have to rest 2 of your standing game characters, and the rested characters cannot stand during your next stand phase. In any other set, this would be a pretty significant demerit, effectively preventing you from using 2 cards for an entire 2 turns. However, in Saekano, there are several cards that can bypass this demerit entirely by removing themselves from the board to utilize their effects. A couple of these cards are ones that we've already looked at, the level 0 Izumi and Utaha Amagi. Izumi can be used as part of the rest cost and then use her effect to send herself to memory for the top check 4, while Utaha can bounce herself back to hand when you play a climax. However, there's some especially strong synergy with a new set of cards coming out in set 2, which is the changer package that goes with the new level 3 Kato gate combo. This changer package consists of a level 0, level 1, and level 2, in addition to the level 3 combo itself. So let's take a quick look at each of these one by one. The level 0 is a Rest Self Search Brainstorm. She also has an act ability that comes online once you're at level 1 or higher, where she can send herself to Waiting Room to bring out the level 1. As you would expect, by sending herself to Waiting Room as cost for this effect, it allows you to rest her to play the All-Nighter event, and then bypass the demerit when she changes into the level 1. The level 1 is also a Rest Self Search Brainstorm, and additionally gives 500 power in front during your turn. Despite being a red card, the opposite color of the green level 1 Kato combo, you can cheat her out with the level 0 change ability to bypass the color requirement. Once you're at level 2 or higher, you can pay 1 and send her to memory at the start of your climax phase, to change her into the level 2 support. Again, by removing herself from the board, this bypasses the demerit of the All-Nighter event, while simultaneously adding 1 additional memory to the big stack of memory that this deck is already accumulating. The level 2 is a level assist, and, you already guessed it, has an ability to change itself into the level 3 combo by paying 1 and sending herself to memory while you're at level 3 or higher. Between the 3 pieces of this changer package plus the Izumi plus Utaha Amagi, you have many ways to use and abuse the All-Nighter event, making an extremely high value card that allows you to push the Set 2 Saekano build to its absolute limits. Despite being just an uncommon, this is a card that you will definitely want to be looking out for in your packs and hold on to tightly. The last really high impact card on our list is the level 3 Kato Early Play Healer. This is a very simple card. She has an early play condition of 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room, heals on play, and has an on-attack buff effect that lets you give up to 2000 power to one of your other game characters. As explained earlier with the level 0 Edity, this extra power is valued quite high with context of the climax combos played in the most popular build, but has generally high value overall even in future builds that run completely different combos. This early play can be used in basically any Saekano deck moving forward, as red is arguably one of the easiest colors to accommodate for any Saekano deck, thanks to cards like the Utaha Salvage Wiki being mainstays in future builds. While our list isn't done just yet, the remaining cards will either be less flashy cards or are less popular choices. Up first is the level 3 Edity from the Trial deck. She has on-play top check X, where X is the number of your game characters on stage, allowing you to dig for cards you might need in the endgame. Additionally, during her battle, the opponent cannot play any backups, which can be a great counter mechanic to strong defensive backups played in the modern era, such as Hachima from Hololive. The thing that makes the Edity notable within Saekano's arsenal is that she's one of only 2 top check X level 3s between the first 2 sets, with the other being the level 3 Michiru, a card that's in blue, a color that is not commonly played at all in the main Saekano builds. There are no top check 3 level 3s in Saekano at all until the 3rd set either, making Edity the prime choice for extra dig in the late game. However, despite there being no top check 3 level 3s within the first 2 sets, there is actually a lower level card that can get the job done, which brings us to our next card on our list, the level 0 Kato. This card has an on-play ability of clocking 1 game character from your hand to look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, add 1 of them to your hand, and send the rest to Waiting Room. While this card does require you to take a damage, it also comes with the added benefit of being able to use it at any point in the game, letting you dig for significant early game cards as well, and potentially using the clock cost to boost yourself up a level, or clock an extra color that you're currently lacking. The final card on our list is actually a set of cards, the Icy Tail package. While most of the Saekano set is focused on the game trait, the Icy Tail cards give a fun alternative deck to play that focuses around the music trait. This deck focuses on resonance abilities with the level 3 Icy Tail Michiru in order to activate various effects. Currently, there are a few resonance abilities to utilize in the first set, such as the Ronko Runner and Echika Assist. With set 2, Icy Tail will gain additional options such as the level 1 back row, which can resonate and pay 1 stock to look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck and add a game character from them to your hand, while simultaneously giving a 1k power boost upon using an act ability. This adds a much needed layer of consistency and power to the deck and makes it an excellent budget deck option moving forward. And that wraps it up for our guide on what Saekano cards we think you should be looking out for in the first set in order to prepare for the second. There are a lot of really neat strategies that we hope to share with you when that time comes, so keep on the lookout for Saekano Flat's release date coming soon. In the meantime, we'll be following up this video with some gameplay featuring a few of the Set 1 Saekano builds, so look forward to those. Until then, this has been Randall, aka Shizukatz, on the Tressa's Collectibles channel. See ya!